everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenna. Before we get into today's video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button and you subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Alright, so as you can obviously see right here, my precious little baby boy Maverick made his arrival, and as the title of this video is my birth story. So I did not vlog my labor and delivery and all that stuff. I just kind of wanted to be in the moment. I just didn't feel comfortable doing that, so I did not vlog it, but I do want to share my birth story with you guys because he's here. Little Maverick is here. Ugh, we just love him so much. He's so cute. Oh. All right, so Maverick was born on June 1st, 2020 at 10:36 p.m. So June 1st was this past Monday, okay? So on Sunday, we did landscaping work. We did all day landscaping, and I was moving the rocks with my feet. Like I was standing up and moving them all day long. I just really wanted to help, and I just love landscaping. I'm one of those people where I absolutely love landscaping. I know. I'm weird. Monday morning, I woke up at about 8 a.m. and I always go to the bathroom when I wake up because I cannot last. And Maverick was just kicking me like absolute crazy. And so he had woken me up, and so I got up and I went to the bathroom, and when I wiped, there was blood. I instantly freaked out. It wasn't a lot of blood, but I mean, it's still blood. Like, you still freak out when you're pregnant. I was 37 weeks and 6 days, so I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, okay, I'm bleeding. Oh my gosh, I really overdid it yesterday with all the landscaping work. First thing I did was I called Zach and I told him what was going on, and then I called my mom and I told her, and then I got my stepdad, because they live close to us. He came over because I had Savannah. I had just woken up, so I got a bag and everything ready. My stepdad got here real quick, and I went to the hospital. I arrived at the hospital probably about 9 a.m. They got me upstairs to labor and delivery and all that. They started monitoring me. I started having contractions while I was there. They were really inconsistent contractions, but I was having contractions. Like, I'd been having some for a while, but I was actually having some, a little bit more. I mean, they weren't really consistent, but they were happening. They were under 10 minutes apart, and sometimes they were closer, further. I was having it. Nothing was wrong with Maverick. They just said that I pretty much overdid it. As you saw in my last video, at my 37 week, I was 2 centimeters dilated. And when I arrived at the hospital on Monday morning at about 9:30 a.m., I was 3 centimeters dilated. And they said my cervix was so soft and he was really, really, really low. So I was like, okay. I was wondering if they're gonna, am I gonna leave? I'm bleeding. I was really concerned about that. They said it's okay. Like, that's not a big deal. It wasn't a lot of blood. It's not like full on like a period. It wasn't a big deal. They said not to worry. While I was there, I was still having lots of contractions, and I just had Zach get off work because Zach works 2 hours away, and I was really nervous. Like, what if something happens? What if this progresses and he's not here? Plus, I was by myself at the hospital because then my mom got off work and went to my house to stay with my daughter. So I stayed at the hospital from about 9:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. I really wanted to just stay, to just be monitored, because I was having contractions and I was having like irritability too in between, and I didn't know where this was going to go. I was like, am I having this baby? Like, how long am I going to be pregnant for? Am I going to have contractions for a week, a day, hours? Like, I had no idea. So they sent me home. Before they sent me home, they did check me, and I was 4 centimeters dilated. So I did go up a little bit, but nothing crazy. They talked to my doctor, and they said that I could stay a little bit longer if I wanted to, or I could go home. So I decided to go home because I really wanted to wash my hair. I hadn't washed my hair in probably like 4 or 5 days, and I was supposed to wash it that day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have nasty hair if I have this baby right now. Like, it's gonna be so greasy and gross. I'm gonna be ugh. Just sounded disgusting. So I wanted to go home and wash my hair, and I wanted to eat because I hadn't ate all day. I thought I was hungry, okay? I thought I had this big appetite. So I wanted to go home and eat, and I wanted to get my bag together, and I wanted to see Savannah because I didn't know how long this was gonna last. Before we left, my nurse told me, she said, I'm gonna tell the night girls about you when they arrive, or I might see you before that. And I'm like, okay, like, I guess I'm gonna have this baby, she thinks I'm going to. So we went home. By the way, before I went home, I was having contractions still, but they were super inconsistent and irregular with the timing. Like they weren't exactly X amount of minutes apart. As I was on my way home, I had 2 contractions, and I actually got an app on my phone before we left so I could keep track of them, because I had to drive. Zach and I both drove separate. So that's the other thing too. You know, we had both of our vehicles at the hospital. So we both drove home. I had 2 there. And as soon as I came home, you know, I took my shower, I dried my hair, I straightened little parts of it so then like it wouldn't be wild. While I was in the shower and while I was getting ready, I was having contractions. So I was, you know, timing them, seeing how far apart they were. You know, in the car, they were 7 minutes apart, and they slowly started to get closer together, okay? So after, you know, I did my shower, did my hair, I had packages. Oh my gosh, I forgot to add. I had 5 sales. Okay, 5 sales I had to package up. I was freaking out because I was like, what if I have this baby? I have all of these sales, and I'm going to get, you know, my shipping time's going to be screwed if I send these out. So I was worrying about that too, like so much on my mind. So I packaged those up. Then I came downstairs. Zach had food for me. So we ate. I thought I was hungrier than what I actually was. I really wasn't that hungry. But my contractions were starting to get close together. At this point, they were probably about 3-4 minutes apart for about an hour. My husband wanted me to come in. And I just didn't want to go in because I was like, oh my gosh, like what if I go in, I'm going to be there and it's going to take forever, or if I'm not dilated anymore, like I'm still at 4 centimeters. So I decided to walk circles around my house after I ate. My bag was packed, everything, you know, was good to go. And I had my mom on standby to come over for Savannah so Zach and I could go. So I'm walking around my house, walking. And my contractions are getting now closer together. Now they're about 2 minutes apart. And Zach's like, we're going. We need to go to the hospital. You're not having this baby here. At this point, it was 5:45, 6 o'clock, okay? We left the hospital at about 2:30-ish. So around, you know, from 2:30 to 6, that was all the stuff I did at home. I thought that would help progress labor instead of me sitting in a hospital bed. We arrived back at the hospital at about 6:15-ish. They rolled me up to labor and delivery, and my 2 nurses I had earlier were still there. They're like, yep, we knew we were going to see you. And I'm like, oh, you were right. And I said, my contractions are about 2 minutes apart, and they were. I was having them while I was there. They got me in there. I went to the bathroom. They checked me, and I was 6 centimeters dilated at this point. So they're like, yep, you're not leaving. You're 37 weeks and 6 days. Because earlier when I was there, they didn't want to give me anything to, you know, kickstart my labor and also to stop it. They didn't want to kickstart it because I was only 37 weeks and 6 days. They also didn't want to stop it because, you know, I was past 37 weeks. So I was having contractions. From then on, they decided they were going to keep me. We're going to have a baby. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this. We're going to have a baby. Well, I switched nurses halfway. And let me tell you, before I switched nurses, when I was there earlier in the day and then when I arrived, I had to wear a mask, okay? So you have to wear a mask when you go there. I totally understand in the hallways and stuff. It is so hard having contractions without an epidural and trying to breathe with a mask on, okay? It is so hard. Oh my gosh, I felt like I was gonna like pass out. I couldn't breathe. It was just, it was rough. I asked my nurses, you know, do I have to wear this mask? And they said, well, we wear ours to protect you, so if you would wear yours to protect us. I'm like, okay, I respect that. And I said, what if I can't breathe? They said, then you can go ahead and move it so you can breathe, you know, if you're having a really big contraction. Well, there was a shift change, so I got a new nurse. The nurses I had earlier were awesome, but this girl, she was great. She got me through. She was amazing. Loved her. So they switched nurses around that time, probably about 7:30. And that was when the contractions really started coming on. And I still had no epidural yet. I wanted to try to see how far I could go without an epidural. And, you know, when I arrived at 6 o'clock, I was about 6 centimeters, okay? So it was a little bit later on. My contractions got super intense. Oh my gosh, it was rough. I told Zach, I said, if I have 2 more exactly like this, we're getting an epidural. I had 2 more like that. So I got an epidural, and I was still kind of doing the mask thing when my nurses came in. When the anesthesiologist came in for the epidural, I was having contractions while I was getting it, and I couldn't breathe with the mask on. And my nurse was like, "Just take that off. You need to breathe." She's like, "Take it off. You're fine. You know, you're trying to give birth. Like, it's fine." So I didn't have to wear a mask, which was really nice for me breathing wise. Like, it was just, the contractions were so intense. But I need to add, before I got my epidural, she checked me and I was 8 centimeters dilated. So I was progressing pretty quick. I was really happy. I was sure I was going to have a June 1st baby, not a June 2nd. By the way, everything was going. So I got my epidural at 8 p.m. It really helped. I'm really proud of myself. I went without an epidural till 8 centimeters. So I was really, really proud of myself. From about 8:15, 8:30, after, it was all in, about 8:30 until about 10, she let me rest. And the contractions, I didn't even feel anything with that epidural. I just laid there. I relaxed because I'm like, you know what? I need to lay here. I need to chill. I need to relax because I'm going to have to push the baby out and it's going to be super exhausting. I thought about taking a nap, but I could still kind of feel my contractions, so I couldn't really fall asleep. I was starting to feel my contractions more at about 10 p.m. That's when my nurse checked me. She said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I felt like he was really low, or there was this big ball down there, okay?" And she said, "All right, well, I'm going to check you. It's been almost 2 hours." My nurse didn't even get to check me, and my water broke. So that was really exciting. It was about 10. She said, "All right, we're going to have this baby." All right, and I said, "Okay, sounds good." So I pretty much just kind of laid there. The contractions then really started to get super intense after that. Kind of psyching myself out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't have to push for 2 hours like I did with my daughter, because that was super rough. I started, the contractions were, they were getting there. And I started to feel pressure down there, like I had to push. So I told Zach, I'm like, "You need to tell her I feel like I have to push." My nurse came in, I said, "I feel like I have to push." And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "Don't fight that." They pretty much told my doctor, "You need to hurry. You need to get here ASAP." He was coming on his own. It was crazy to me. So my doctor arrived just in the nick of time. Like, she got up there, she got her stuff on. I pushed him out in 2 pushes. It was just crazy. I was amazed how fast he came and how easy it was, honestly. To me, what is even crazier about this whole labor and delivery is that the epidural was the worst part, getting the epidural while having a contraction. Not the pushing them out part or, and the contractions before that. It was having contractions while I was getting my epidural. Maverick's labor and delivery was so much smoother and so much easier on me than Savannah's. With Savannah, I was in labor, for 16, 17, 18 hours, and I pushed for 2 hours, and it was just, it was rough. So little Maverick was born at 10:36 p.m. He was 7 pounds, 15 ounces, and he was 20 inches long. He is just absolutely perfect. We love him so much. I'm so glad he came early. I loved feeling him kick when I was pregnant, but I was just so over being pregnant. So that is where I have been, and since I haven't posted on YouTube in a full week, I just really wanted to share with you guys Maverick's birth story. I did not vlog because I just really wanted to be in the moment with my husband, and I just didn't want to have to worry about that. And it was a really great experience. Very thankful and grateful for the nurses, my doctor, everyone. It was wonderful. So thankful for my parents for watching Savannah while we were at the hospital with Maverick, since I couldn't leave. And we had to stay there 2 days. Zach did leave, but I did have him spend the night just because I couldn't have any visitors. I was just really lonely when he left. I loved spending time with him, but I'll tell you what, when you are in like a tiny little room all day long healing, it gets really, I was so bored. So I had Zach stay with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got to enjoy Maverick's birth story. There are more videos to come. I don't think I'm going to keep my Monday, Wednesday, Friday YouTube schedule. I'm not 100% sure yet. All right, guys, thank you so much. Please be patient with me. Stay tuned for more videos. I'd very much appreciate it if you liked and subscribed.